Well, we're getting more rumors about casting for the Supergirl movie. We see people like Toby Kebbell, which I talked about just the other day in a video, rumored to be cast or in talks to be cast for the Supergirl movie. And now we hear this. We hear this coming from Real Film, saying that Sophia Hammons, who was a Nickelodeon star, also in, I guess, I don't know if it was a show or a movie called Under Wraps, is a top choice for a big role. Also, Bobby Cannavale from Old Dads is being looked at for a supporting part. Now, the details about the story and their characters is still a secret. However, if you remember back in my video I did about the Toby Kebbell casting rumor, you can see the video here. You can go on my channel and take a look at it. I was mentioning who I think Toby Kebbell could be playing. He could be playing the villain or not anti-hero, but he's kind of like a villain. He's a bounty hunter in the Woman of Tomorrow series named Krem, who killed Supergirl's friend Ruthie's father. Could Sophie Hammons be Ruthie? That's a very, very interesting possibility. If she is the top choice for a big role, if that character is going to play a part in this movie, that could be it. Remember, back about 6-7 months ago, there was that rumor that the story is going to be about Supergirl and her friend chasing down a toxic male. And a big role would be that other friend, that friend of Supergirl's. Could be Ruthie, could be that character played by Sophia Hammons. So that's just my thought. And look, we know that this Supergirl movie is due to be in production within the next few months. So we're going to see these types of rumors. We're going to see these leaks and this type of information coming out over the next few months. And that's exciting. That's exciting. Again, you take this all with a grain of salt. You can't sit there and say this is all certain, but it's interesting to say the least. It's interesting to say the least because, look, it's exciting. We know Millie Alcock is our Supergirl. We know that. I could absolutely see Sophia Hammons standing next to her as someone like Ruthie. Absolutely. But Bobby Cannavale, who could he play? Because he's looked at as a supporting part. Could he play her dad, who is killed by Krem? There you have it. That is intriguing. That is interesting. Again, you start to take all these rumors and you kind of try to piece them together, how they may fit and how they may look together in what a movie and a story could be. Maybe we're far off. Maybe it's not even what the story could be. But as we start to hear these rumors and these possible leaks, things are becoming more and more interesting. But what do you think? Do you think this is the direction things are going? Make sure you check out Slav's Free Talk for these articles, slavsfreetalk.com. But I don't want to just end it here because I was passed along this image the other day, and I was told, hey, go find this on a DC fan page on Facebook. This is a really interesting post. So I went and I found it, and I posted it on my X account. I'm not really active on Facebook. That's my personal life. I don't like to really do much about what I do on social or YouTube there. So this is the post that they were talking about. It's on the DC Universe fans page on Facebook. It goes, if you look at DC Studios right now, it's funny and sad that you can't bring back the old cast to their new universe just like Marvel does. Make a successful film and bag it at the box office. Marvel has built a well-structured universe. Some haven't been that good film-wise, but they can pick a few loved characters and bring them back in their next phase of films, and it still would make sense. I think DC, moving forward, should take a look at that and learn a few things from them. They cannot afford to reboot their universe once again if this current one fails. They should also learn to listen to their fan base and give what the fans want. At the end of the day, we want a good written, successful film we can rewatch once in a while. And I agree to a certain extent with this. And this is an interesting take and thought about what is the state of DC. It really is. But I posted a little bit on my social media over on X. There was a plan sort of to do what Marvel was doing with DC. If you don't remember, the problem though is the DCU was failing miserably and the fans just didn't go and watch the movies. They just didn't. The plan was to have a multiversal angle to the DCEU. Flash was going to set up that multiversal angle. They brought back Michael Keaton. There was a plan to kind of introduce the multi-Batman aspect. They brought back George Clooney. They were doing that. But the fans just weren't showing up. The fans didn't care. The fans didn't want to go because the DCEU was in shambles. Nobody cared. Whether it was the Snyderverse, whether it was the DCEU at large, nobody cared. That's just facts. And it's unfortunate because there were parts of the DCEU that were exciting and were good. But at large, it wasn't working. It was failing. But what Gunn and Safran and DC Studios is doing now is refreshing and absolutely going to reinvigorate the audience for DC films. And that's something that people don't realize because as the diehard fans, as us, we're sitting here looking at it with a microscope. We're looking at it very intricately every step of the way, every single bit of information that comes out. We're like, okay, what's going on? What's happening here? But the larger audience, they're not looking at it like we are. They're just standing back. They know there's a Superman movie coming. They probably know. Maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them don't. They don't really look at it like we do. But I can assure you, as soon as that big announcement happens, whether it's before the Super Bowl or like I think is going to be at the Super Bowl, when that information hits, fans, their interest is going to be piqued beyond belief. Because they're going to notice it's not Henry Cavill. They're going to notice it looks different. It looks brighter. It looks more hopeful than the DCEU did. Their interest is going to be piqued. Now, it's going to take some time, absolutely, for them to really buy into this new universe because they were misled and misguided during the DCEU. But yes, give them a few movies. It's going to take time. Warner Brothers and DC Studios understands that. The diehard fans need to understand that too. That's not to say that Superman is going to fail. That's not to sit here and say that if Superman makes $200 million, that people are going to sit there and say, oh, it's still successful, because that's not the case. I still think Superman's going to do well. I believe it's going to do well. But again, you have to sit back and look at it logically. Now, should DC take notes from Marvel? Yeah, I think they should, but not in the regard to what you're sitting here and saying, like they need to take notes and honor the past and such. They're going to do that in due time. I don't think that they should be going after the multiversal angle at this point. Again, they tried. They were starting to do it. Let Marvel have their thing. They're doing the multiverse now. Let them do their thing. Let them succeed or fail on their own merits and what they're doing. Let them do it. DC needs to focus on right now what they're doing, building this new universe. If it turns out great, awesome. Great. DC can absolutely take notes, though. See what failed. See what worked. Improve on both angles. Improve on what failed. Improve on what worked. That doesn't mean they have to copy, though. And that's the beauty of what and where DC is right now. DC does need to focus on what they're doing. James Gunn knows that. David Zaslav knows that. Peter Safran knows that. Everybody knows that. And that's what is so invigorating about being a DC fan who sees and is watching this stuff every day. That's what's so hopeful. That's what's so exciting about it. Because you sit back and you see, we know these creatives understand what they need to do. We know that. They know that. We all know that. The general audience doesn't see it yet. But once they do, the hype around DC is going to explode. And that is exciting. That's exciting. Don't listen to all the negativity surrounding DC right now, because all the negativity that's going on is all the people that are still mad that they didn't get what they wanted with the DCEU. And they're not going to, because it's over. It's done. It's finished. and they're not going to get it. And that's unfortunate for them. I feel bad for them to a certain extent, but it's over. We need to focus on the future, and that's what's exciting. Things are looking great. There's still a lot of work that needs done, but things are looking great. So this was an interesting post, and this is the kind of stuff I like to see, because this isn't a negative thing. This is the kind of stuff that we want to see fans talking about. This is how you bring the conversation together. And this is how you get a conversation going, is with stuff like this. Because you can have a very good conversation just from a post like this. So I love to see this. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below about DC, about where things are moving. Let me know what you think. Share this around. This is a really, really interesting topic, so share it around. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Become a Slav Geek Talker. Become a member. $2.99 a month. Support me. I would not be upset if you supported me. Actually, I'd be very grateful. And remember, I do live shows Monday nights, Thursday nights. Don't miss them. They're great. They're fun. But with all that said, guys, I'll catch you all later.